Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I'm your host, Lois Hermann, and I'm here to shine a light on people who are making a difference in our world. And today I am over the moon delighted to have two amazingly influential guardians, a guardian of the galaxy and a guardian of the angels with us. So I'm thrilled to welcome Nick Sylvester and Rianna Munro, who is actually Amoraea, Earth. I want to have her tell us about that. So let's just get started with how have you guys been? I haven't talked with you or had you on the show in a while. We've all been busy in different ways. So Rianna, how have you been? How are you doing? And tell us a little bit about your mission with your Amoraea Earth.
Thank you so much, Lois. It's so lovely to be with you again. And Nick, of course, it's just such a joy. And it's these moments that I can't keep the smile off my face because it's just such an uplifting frequency that we hold. And it's an amazing gift that we give each other and a reminder. But yeah, like you said, we've all been busy with our little mission projects, our passion and developing our internal journeys and matching that with, purpose-driven soul callings and that's precisely where I've been for the past year quite intensively and doing grid work and obviously visiting Nick recently and enjoying some soul family time and connection on other levels and it's like bringing together. It's almost like walking the prophecy that you've been writing or here to live or here to live the things that are here to unfold through you and understanding what that is and the experiential nature of the human experience and merging that with the the angelic consciousness, multidimensional aspects that are coming online. So just your work becomes an extension of your life and it all melds and it all comes together and that's basically a summary of the focus, but it's very broad, but it's very focused at the same time.
Yeah, your work is your play, is your mission, is your passion. And I know that word work gets a whole lot of bad rap, but I kind of have this philosophy is what I'm going to play with today. What is it that I'm going to do that I'm going to enjoy? And so that we take that four-letter word and we park it over there and go, what am I going to live to do today? And what might I enjoy today? So thank you for the work you're doing. And definitely people need to go to your new website because when we spoke last time, you were working on the website. It's magical. It truly is. So go explore there. All the different places you've been.
Lois.
Tokyo and Mount Fuji and just so many places. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Nick, you introduced me to Rianna a couple years ago. And so Nick, he's been an influential person in my life and turned my business upside down. I blame and credit him both. Welcome, Nick. How are you doing?
Well, I hope I didn't turn it upside down the wrong direction, but you never know which way's right and wrong in this kind of journey. In that regard, business is not really the direction we're going, right? We're sort of leaving a lot of that behind, by design. But yeah, I've been great. I mean, I've been doing a whole lot of the same thing as Rianna has been doing. We've been spending a great deal of time together and working, on our projects that will hopefully be able to be brought forward into the real world very, very soon. Yeah, I stopped doing a great number of videos back probably, I don't know, maybe 7-8 months ago. My partner at the time, Dylan, you know Dylan.
I do.
Of course, Rianna definitely knows Dylan, and he wanted to stop, and so I've been kind of slowing down and doing more work with Rianna, and occasionally I'll do a show with Mahoney or this, that, or the other, some other platform. Sometimes I'll still do a cryptid show from time to time, but yeah, I mean, she and I have been doing a lot of stepping back and being an observer, more so than being involved in a great deal of this. Obviously, the geopolitical interest is is far from where we want to focus, and it's funny because when I talk to other truthers or people in the movement, it's just a natural graduation where some have decided to still remain in the genre of the geopolitical slash MAGA, fight, 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 go, go, go. That's really not where we choose to be anymore. We choose a little bit of a higher perspective in a more spiritual sense. And I'm not saying one is wrong and one is right, but that's what we're spending time doing. And you're right, Lois. The website she put together is beautiful. I mean, yeah, there's no telling what it would have looked like if I would have put it together. It would have looked like a 7-year-old child's website, but it is amazing, and just looking forward to continuing the journey.
It is quite the journey, isn't it? And the people we meet along the way that are like soul connection, because that's what you use the word soul a lot. SOL, soul is the sun, is the heart, is everything. And it is amazing the soul connections we meet and the connections that come and go. And I think that a lot of that is by design. And as you're saying, Nick, learning to become the observer in this world we live in, I think, is critical to mental, emotional, and spiritual success. Because if you're stuck in that mire of who did what and why and figuring everything out, all that drama, it's just affecting the vibrational frequency of our energy. So I've been energy for forever. Even in my other career, it was all about ultrasound, sonar energy. So I understand the signature of energy. And I skim all that stuff now, and I look at these people who are still fighting that. And I think what we need to do is, and what you're doing, what I'm looking at on your website, is ushering in this new wave of positive energy. Yes, the negative is there. Yes, there's shadow stuff there. What we have to do is learn how to deflect it and rise above it, and not get stuck in the muck of it. It is the way that I see it. What are your thoughts on that, Rianna?
Oh, it's so beautifully said, because all of that distraction and noise pulls you immediately out of your heart space and your creative center, and that ability to cultivate a stillness and presence, which is presence of mind and heart. And that is so essential to cultivate and protect, almost, for us to expand into the new awareness of what infinite possibilities feels like. And it's embodying the feeling process. So yeah, if you're busy distracted in the mind and the psychological warfare and the psyops, where everything is designed to keep you disconnected, it's important to step back and create a place of peace, just for a sense of groundedness and a sense of knowing. Yeah, and that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to show us the separation and how we exercise the muscle to keep coming back to that place of center and presence, and how that affects us and how that enables our ability to create and innovate and access new ideas and cultivate the angelic mind, which is accessing the infinite intelligence and play in those spheres, which is way more fun.
It is more fun. It is more fun. I just read an amazing book by Gina Maza. You'll have to meet her at some point. She wrote this incredible book. It's actually a little bit old, but in one of the passages, someone said, "He who dies with the most joy wins." And I thought, wait a second. I want to turn that around and say, he who lives with the most joy wins. So my mantra is to stay in that joy space, because when you're in the joy space, then you can be that vigilant observer that notices, yeah, that's a bunch of hogwash and hooey. I'm not even going to listen to this stuff, because when you're the observer, it becomes obvious. The lies, the deception, the confusion, the misinformation is out there. It's just more obvious when you're in that joy space. You recognize, I don't know. Do you sense that yourself? You see it when you're the observer instead of being in it. When you're stuck in that muck, you can't see beyond. When you are the observer of just being, there's no right or wrong. There's just, this is truth, this is confusion, or truth cloaked as confusion. And what we have to do is just to find what's right in our hearts. And because we're here to make a difference in our own way. Everybody's different, and that's by design. So, Nick, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts about all
Well, I mean, all three of us, I mean, we're on the same page. It's a very difficult battle because, everyone's perspective is different. Everyone's place where they are in the journey is their place. That's where they belong.
that? Mhm.
You can't really say anything is right or wrong anymore. Especially as one learns along this path. But I mean, I guess if I would have any sort of maybe advice to the people on this path would be to try to understand that the very processes of the awakening, all of the bombardment of catalyst, the bombardment of information, let's say, okay, that is the material of the dark keeping one confused. But understand from a higher perspective, the actions of the dark are by design from God, from Creator, to get us from point A to point B. And I want to try to make it super amazingly simple and understand all of this is within God. All of this is within the project here, okay? And only when you shrink down the observation point do you see bad guys, good guys, right? Because truthfully, they're all working together in harmony to get us from third density to fourth density, from third dimension to fourth and fifth, as some people will use. So the longer we stay in this, a dog chasing a squirrel mentality. Like, look here, look there. They're lying. That's the truth. Oh my God, did you see this? Did you see that? All of that, although important, is postponing your ability to rise above and understand that that's what this is all about. Developing discernment, your ability to detach, to let go, to observe from a distance. You understand? The goal is not to remain in this intel grind for a long period of time. That isn't what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be using this information to wake up and then progressing along and being able to remove ourselves because we no longer need this information to understand what's going on. You understand? But many people are getting locked in these loops, these different fear loops, these different intel loops that all they're doing is this. And there's no progression for a long period of time, years and years and years. And that's okay. But I'm just suggesting that isn't necessarily the way it's supposed to proceed. So I'm going to leave it at that and let everybody figure out more.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed are these people who are insisting on, I want the list, we don't know what we don't know. There is an awful lot of information, and just based on doing the metaphysical journeys and the spiritual journeys, when we're in that higher vibrational state, which we don't necessarily stay there in our everyday waking, eating, functioning, gardening life, but when we are in that state, we can see beyond, and we can see that there are things that are by design hidden to the average person that we don't know until it's time to know. And so getting stuck in that demanding blame shaming is not beneficial to anyone. It's better, in my opinion, to just send joy, send energy, send positive, and send prayers, whatever you want to call it, for the ultimate highest best outcome for all of humanity, and specifically for Gaia and all of our beautiful creatures that live on her. So I know we all love the earth and we all do things on the earth. So I know that you do a lot with gardening and with your your center there, Rianna, in New Zealand. And I've been doing a lot of work with trees and become almost a aspiring arborist because I tend to go out that working with nature and the trees is one of my ways to ground. I do skim the news on a regular basis, Nick, because I've told myself I'm not going to go back into the ostrich in the sand where I was 10 years ago, where I had no clue what was going on. I want to at least have an understanding. So I skim information to stay current with potentials. And then I do my spiritual connection with the divine and the angelics, and I go out in nature and talk to the fairies and the sprites, all that weird stuff. And that's what
stuff.
makes me healthy and happy, and also sometimes compromised by grooming trees, getting toxic exposure to mold. But I also know how to rise above it. This is what we have to do. We have to live. We're living on this planet. We're enjoying it. We either signed up to be here or we were conscripted. We were just talking about that. But we're here. So we're here. Each of us has our own purpose and mission, and no two are alike. What we have to do is find what it is that gives us joy, that gives us purpose, that gives us direction, and just do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you're doing a lot of things, Rianna. Oh my goodness. You're working on your house. You were restoring a house.
I know.
Ongoing
project.
Ongoing project. I know. Yep. And
yes, things to keep us busy, but they're in the creative field. Yeah. And like you were saying, like a lot of these intel drops and the information out there can be destructive to the human spirit in the way that it can dismantle your ability to access feelings of joy or fulfillment. And therein lies the challenge. It's like, how do we pull ourselves more into that space? Like, how do we make choices that align more into softening of the heart and connecting with nature and honoring all that is sacred in everything that we do? Because these experiences want to harden the heart and further disconnect ourselves from spirit and connection to all that is. So, yeah, we've got a task ahead of us, but that's what we're anchoring, and that's what we do. And to remember that and to keep pushing that narrative alongside, truth and call for justice. The liberation and freedom is big at the moment in my field. I know it is for Nick as well, but it's like you get to the saturation point where you're ready to change gears and really shift into a new mode of innovation and creativity that will bring about that next step that we want to live and embody and experience now, evolving out of the quagmire, the pit of chaos and confusion and start being in that space and bringing together the things that bring us joy and beauty and activating those gifts of connection.
Bringing out our authentic selves. I know you were talking about, your website. I just finished redesigning. I was taking count. This is my 6th website that I have created in my career, in my hypnosis metaphysical career. And the old website just didn't fit anymore. It was too corporate. It was too stiff. It was too business oriented. And now my team and I, we have such a different approach to working as a team with someone that it needed to be softer. It needed to be more representative of who and what we are. So, and I also merged 3 websites into one. So we just introduced it a couple of weeks ago. It was a 6-month project of cleaning out the old. I likened it to, I'm combining 3 houses into one. You got to clear out the clutter, get rid of what you don't want, keep what you want, and repurpose it. So that's what we've done. So to me, it is about attracting the people who we're supposed to help and be there for them when they're ready, and preparing the way for the angelic people, the light workers, the starseeds, and they know who they are. They just are confused about where they're going, or they've got blocks to their success. So our team is there to help them get past the blocks so that they can get into that self-empowered mode and shine their light, because all of these beautiful starseeds that have incarnated at this time are here for a reason and a purpose, and we need them. We need everybody. We need all hands on deck to create the new Earth, to create this new light, high vibe, fourth to fifth density Earth, moving away from that low energy and bringing in, shining the light. Right, Nick?
Beautifully said. Congratulations on your new website.
Oh, thank you. It was, as you know, it's a bit of work, and now it's just adding unto. So Nick, you're not into the website thing at all, are you? No, he says
Not at all.
Not at all.
Never have been.
Good for you.
I have no knowledge of how to do it. Just I've always in the past in my, professional world, just found somebody who did, and that's it. That's all I know.
Well, now I have a webmaster. He does all the back end. I'm a content creator and, the vision for it and all that. No. I don't even claim to be the person behind the scenes, the auto magician. I recognize that each of us has our own skill set. And when we work together as a team, this is part of the team approach, even to the metaphysical work we do. It makes such a difference when you've got people who are working in harmony together.
For sure. So what topic should we jump on? We've got 3 people with all kinds of knowledge. What should we jump into, you think?
I like the idea about the guardians of the earth, that you're talking, the Amoraea, because I had mentioned that I once upon a time was guided back in 2003. I created a nonprofit organization called Guardians of the Rose, and the rose is the heart, is the energy of the divine feminine. And it was designed, the Guardians of the Rose, the intention was to create a sacred retreat center so that people could come and facilitate healing for themselves. They could stay there, they'd be eating healthy food. And it came about because people would come to me for sessions, Reiki hypnosis, and then they would go home into their quagmire of negative environment, and it would all disintegrate. So the idea was to have a place that people could come for a day, a week, a month, a year, and some would give back, some would pay it forward, and some would pay it in exchange. But it was a place that they could just immerse themselves into a wonderful state of their own healing, where you'd have different practitioners that would give an a la carte menu of what you could have, but be it Reiki, hypnosis, naturopathy, acupuncture, sound bowl healing, all these different, there's so many healing techniques that would be wonderful to include. And so we're just going to keep on talking. She'll come back. I know she will. So anyway,
I didn't even.
Here she comes. So
there she goes. Is she back?
She's back. So anyway, but that was, unfortunately, it was not the right time, because the people were still, as you were saying, Nick, they were still in that scarcity mindset where my this is better than your that. And so I had this up and running with the board of directors 3 times, and 3 times it imploded. And I just put it on the back burner and said, in the right time with the right people, we'll be able to do that. And I feel like the team that I've been blessed to have come together with me, they're ready for something like that now, because it is not about competition. It is about collaboration and respect for each other's gifts. So you're doing a lot of the guardian of the angels, of the angelic realm. Can you tell us a bit about your guardians of the angels? Rianna,
Yes.
are you?
Oh, yeah, it's not really guardian. Hear me okay?
Yes, the angelic guardians.
Unstable again. Yes. Well, the angelic guardians, they're made up of many different race of beings that we have. The fall of Earth, the fallen angelics, which is a huge galactic story between 2 factions of families that have been playing out this galactic drama. It's that we're in a bit of a crunch time now, and observing the repatterning of the process out of the distortion fields and what's been laid here for eons. So the Guardian races are overseeing it, and they are gently nudging their teams on Earth, their crews, their ground crew, to do all kinds of things. So we play many, many different roles. Like we're grid workers. We hold a certain frequency vibration. We're all over the planet holding and anchoring these frequencies to help Earth shift, help expand humanity, to hold that remembrance of love, the principles of the law of one, connection to natural law, all of these governing covenants that have been in place within this time space, this universal construct, and being emissaries for that. And it's subtle. It's like it's just a being, a knowing that you are here to anchor something very different to what has been in place, and that itself is enough. Just to remember that you come from love, that you are the embodiment of a fractal of source, and anchoring Christ consciousness through your choices and everything that you're doing. And you're being given visions of new creations that we want to experience. And it's slowly dismantling the distortion fields that have been veiled over humanity's consciousness, and they're kept in a lower frequency range. So yeah, we're just slowly doing what we came here to do. And like you were describing, Lois, with your visions of a retreat center and making inroads into building that, we all have these visions, and you're talking about timing and stuff as well. And it seems to be like a moving progression of evolution, and we're being asked and tasked to keep the faith and that vision alive and allow it to still unfold through us. However it needs to be to come about to answer the bigger questions. And for me, that's kind of where I could potentially see, or have always felt, that the Guardian, or the closest in frequency to us in the Galactic Star family, may meet us and play a mentoring role in how to bring about these bigger projects that I feel are hopefully coming in the soon, future soon that we'll be moving into. But it's something that has upped the ante recently for me, and it's like, okay, I need to get prepared and kind of come into a deeper understanding of receptivity, and especially working with the dragons very closely with building out the new crystalline grid and the places on the grid where we might be called to do it. So to build these things. So yeah, lots going on in multidimensional spaces, and I struggle to put words to it because I'm such a feeling person. So I apologize if nobody's following what I'm saying, but articulating quite a complex galactic story that's playing out through us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, where do you start?
How you said that, and I'm even more curious about the dragons, because we do a lot of work with the dragons as well. We've rescued a lot of the dragons that had been trapped and trained to be negative, and so we're doing a lot of work. Our team is more the rescue team, so it's wonderful to see that other people are working with their dragons. That's what I have on dragon earrings. My friend hand.
Oh, there you go.
So dragons are big. They play a big role in the work that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do. And the fact that you're wearing earrings is a beautiful synchronicity, because yeah, Nick and I experienced a lot of dragon energy while we were in the States and got to witness some interesting anomalies and beautiful signs of their presence, is all I can say, really. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Nick, how are these guardians representing themselves or presenting themselves through your work and through your appreciation, your awareness?
Well, I can comment to a little of that. Sort of piggybacking on the dragons. Yeah, I mean, they were, the synchronicities were all over the place. I mean, everywhere we look, we see something with a red dragon on it. From a restaurant to a billboard to, when we were down in the Red River, we were in Lake Texoma, like actually physically swimming in it, which is on the border of Oklahoma and Texas. It shares, it is the border of the Red River. And Rianna, what was it was it my son that saw something, or was it you that saw? I can't remember who was it?
Oh, yes. Wanted to go exploring this island or on the bank of the river. So him and I went up to the top to just hang out or just to see what we were tuning into or just kind of being guided and led to this place. And then when we were I was like, oh my God, the dragons are here. And then I just started talking about the dragons. And of course, young Nick can see them well. So there were many, and then we get a lot of downloads and reading. Nature started to speak to us, so a lot of red symbolism, Red River, and just call that the dragons were rising through that aspect of the grid. The dragon lines were coming online, and again, the messaging is always subtle, but I can feel it, the power of it, and it was just this big surge, an awakening or an activation, and didn't quite know what it meant. But then it was a couple of days later, further south in the Guadalupe River, they had that big flooding and the dam burst, and I did wonder if intuitively we were there to kind of counterbalance some of the destructive aspects of what could have taken place regarding the manipulations that have been taking place across the planet, but also Earth needing to cleanse herself as well. So I know the angelic cosmic aurora dragons are here to help balance and harmonize that aspect. So I could only deduct that perhaps that's why we were there. One of the many reasons why we were there, anchoring those codes and energy.
I've met Nick's
Yeah.
son. He has quite the intuitive gifts as well. He's pretty special. So yeah, the two of you were very strong energy.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. You met my son in LA, I believe, right?
Vegas?
Lois?
Vegas? Was he there with you in Vegas?
Was
Or
he in Vegas or no? I think wasn't it LA? I don't think he went to Vegas.
okay, I met him at one point, but I was not in LA. I did not go. I know he went to LA.
You were in LA, weren't you in Anaheim? Huh. Well, maybe he did go to Vegas. I don't remember, but
I don't
I
remember.
remember you and Lisa Schermerhorn, you guys, hung out with him a little bit or whatever. But anyway, enough of that. So
But
yeah, I mean, the Guardian groups, I mean, they've been working with us. Well, they've always been working with us, but I mean, they're directly related to groups working, with the White Hats. I mean, there were members of these individuals that were working through people in these groups.
right.
I know a lot of the geopolitical, all stars are very reluctant or refuse to acknowledge the fact that, that we've been given tutelage this entire time. The entire plan, no, General Michael Flynn didn't write the plan, neither did Trump. This plan is not a complete Earth plan. This is a very complex process that we've been going through with the help of, call them the Guardians, call them the Confederation of Planets, call them the Intergalactic Confederation. There's a lot of Earth names that many of these groups, these beings share. Some are accurate, some aren't. It doesn't really matter, and the individuals that are wanting to fight over those things are just being fooled by the dark, because that's what they want. Those are the only powers that the bad guys have anymore, are subtleties like that.
Right.
Is the Galactic Federation of Worlds correct, or is the Galactic Confederation of Light? One of them you're a bad guy, and one of them you're a good guy. And it's like back in the 80s, if a guy has an earring in his left ear, does that mean he's gay? Or does that mean he's straight? I know it's one or the other. You can't, those nonsensical ways of thinking, they have to be left behind in all of this. Those in itself are what is causing the problems. I mean, look, the bad guys are going to be handled. You don't have to worry about the bad guys. You don't need to worry about the Epstein list. Everybody on the list is already taken care of. See, those are the things that are that are miring people in this difficulty with this process. And it's keeping, those people from developing their discernment better. They're wanting so badly to be shown or told or proven. All of these things, those are what we're going away from. And if people would just for a second, just for a minute, try to accept the fact that what if that's true? What if all of this crap is just for that one reason, to get you to be like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to wait for Trump or Pam Bondi or whoever else to come and tell me the truth. I'm sick of it, because they're not going to do it. It's going to be a consistent, never-ending, ongoing test. Yeah. What can I tell you? But the bottom line is, the bad guys aren't going to come get you. The bad guys are not the ones that we are working against. We are having to work against ourselves, the billions and billions of people that are still locked in a certain mindset, a certain mentality that have been taught by the cabal for hundreds of generations. People are still thinking this way, living their lives this way, treating others this way. The greed and the anger and the lust, just pick any of the deadly sins, pick any of those. And that's how humanity has been taught to live through those sins. Gluttony. I mean, just look around. Those are the things that people like Lois and Rianna and myself and others have to fight against. It's not Obama. It's not Hillary. They're taken care of. Trust me, they're taken care of. You need to worry about how your family and your friends and your social circles behave with one another. Mm-hmm. And from there, we can get from point A to point B. But there's nothing the white hats are going to be able to do about the 8 billion humans that all want to think like the bad guys we're taking out. They all want to have that same sort of mentality. And I know I'm making it very simplistic, but that's how I do it. It has to be looked at like that, from above, and then take it to the ground level. And that's how it works. So I hope some of that made some sense, because I kind of go off on a tangent in regards to the truly simplistic nature of a very complex operation.
And Nick, I would like to highlight one of the things that you said that to me is the foundation of everything that you just said, and that's discernment. We can't go by what anybody else says. It has to come from our own sense of discernment, as to how does this resonate with my heart, with my awareness. And that's part of tapping in, tuning in to our God, our angelic guidance, to our higher selves. And I do wish to share that in the work that we do, we work with the Galactics. We call them by a variety of different things. It doesn't matter. The key is, as you're saying, when we work with the Galactics, we know that we're dealing with the Galactics of the light or whatever. But there are people, we have had clients who have been so fascinated by extraterrestrials that they will go out and they will call them to them. Come, I want to see you, bring me, take me. And they are not using discernment, because everything, there's good flowers, there's weeds there. But weeds can be good flowers too. There's good and bad in everything in our existence. And what we have to do is discern what is good for us. So we have had people who've been terribly hurt by some of these negative, dark, offensive ETs, because they have gone in with this naivety of, I just want to experience you. And you have to be discerning about everything you experience. You can't just go down to, back in the old days, it was the strip where all the drug addicts hang out and I'm just going to hang out with a bunch of drug addicts and just enjoy this. No, you have to be discerning what is healthy These are choices that we have to make in everything we do, is including the galactics. So whatever you want to call them, just discern, are these ones beneficial for me, or are they detrimental? It's not good or bad, it's beneficial or detrimental, the way that I work with it. Because I have seen so many people that have been taken over by ones that they're typically opportunistic. Oh, this stupid human wants us to come in and take over. So you have to, it's down to discerning, very discerning. And when you're connected with your guidance system, like you're saying, Rianna, when you got that strong connection with your guides, they never lead you wrong. You ask them, if you don't know in your own heart, you've got connections with your guides, and they can help you to make decisions. And once you're connected with your own tribe of your guardians, they're there to protect, just like the dragons are here to protect us too. So it's an interesting whole different world when you live in that in between, and you can see that there's positive and negative in everything that we experience, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's about understanding the role of the higher self and your internal multidimensional soul lineage, which you use as your guidance system. So nothing external of that. And it's always important to ask the credentials of those entities that may enter your field and want to connect with you. And this is part of, the discernment, teaching humanity the discernment, but also reverence for your own experience, because humans are actually hot commodity. We're programmable creator beings, basically. And what we're learning is how to take self-responsibility for those powers, for those creative powers, and understanding that the disclosure process is actually happening through our awareness. And that is enough. That is enough, because that now calls into a new choice point. We don't need proof. We have the proof. We are the proof. And our choices from that point is also the living proof of what we now want to experience, what we no longer want to experience versus what we now want to experience. That's what's happening. And that's the discernment, but also the honoring and reverence for self, right. Self-love, for the journey of who you are. And it's so easy to come down heavy on human experience, but it's a lived, embodied experience, and it can be lived fully. Like, if you're willing to go that distance within yourself. There are incredibly challenging situations for people that they live in their everyday lives. So I'm not discounting the suffering, the misery that is present. It's just, if we can learn as a community to start making space to honor and have reverence for the human, that's a better place to be. The beauty of it in all our messy, imperfect ways, but we're learning how to come into sovereignty and maturing as a spiritual race of beings that are going to be again rising as the original guardians of creation on earth, as we were always originally designed to be. We weren't cultivated from an ape line of bloodline, like when we're a designed species, perfectly designed species in the image of God. It's that is what we're remembering. We're not a byproduct of some evolutionary theory that has no relevance to the true history of the human. So that's the angelic human.
Yeah, the remembering of places like Lemuria, where we were embodied angelic beings then, and we lived with the planet. We were able to manifest and to co-create and just truly cherish who we were. Even that beautiful race of beings, we've had multiple different past life memories of people who've been in Lemuria, including myself included, that were taken over because of their naivete. They were just this place of bliss and beauty and enjoying, and it was an outside source that came in and took over because they weren't prepared, or they just assumed everything was so beautiful, and it was. But we have to, what the learning that I take from that is, we have to appreciate and enjoy and protect, lest we be. That's what discernment is there to be, pay attention to that heart mind that's saying, caution, caution, that's poison ivy. Don't pick that plant and rub it all over you. You know, that plant might be not so good for you. So we have to use that cautionary discernment about everything in our world and enjoy the beauty, and with the protection, the caution is the way that I live. So
yeah, beautifully said.
We've got to get there, everybody. And we've all been through trauma and a lot of pain. And it's when we go back and revivify that we recreate it. Because I love the way you said this. I don't know, it was so perfect that we are divine creator beings. Is that how you put it? Because we are. And some of these other races, they don't create, they just harvest. They don't have the ability to create. Humans are divine creator beings. I loved how you said that. And that's a unique thing about us. And that's one of the messages that we have gotten is we need to go back to creating the website, creating plants, doing the reconstruction on your house. That's all part of getting in a creative mode, is part of why we're here. Create this new world, whatever you're called to do.
No, that's so well said. Yes, and cultivating that knowing within. So when we look into our children's eyes, we see infinite possibilities because they're so close to Christos. It's protecting and valuing in every way. So that's where we play.
And holding that knowing, that vision for our children. There are many people that I know whose children have moved away from them. You have a beautiful young daughter that is so angelically inspired. And I have a son who is approaching 40, but when he came to me, he came as my protector. And I know that. And I know that he has memory early on of having crashed his ship at one point, but he is here. And there have been times where there have been separations based on political agendas or popular theories. And what we have learned to do is to come to a point of love of one another, regardless, and honoring one another. And he was just here. We were playing a game called There Are No Wrong Answers. Nick, this would be a fun game. It's a card game, a simple card game. He brought it for his birthday, and because we love to play games. So this game is no wrong answers, and it's silly little questions that you ask of one another, and it's very interesting to get perspectives. So it's been interesting to watch even this more mature evolution of this being, because I refuse to acknowledge that the evil had taken over. I just kept seeing the light, kept sending love, kept sending acceptance. Watching the metamorphosis has been truly uplifting and amazing. So as we are working with our children, they came to us, unless they were sent to us, I don't know, but they are here as a teacher, as a mentor. They are our greatest teachers, right, Nick? You've got two amazing children as well. And we continue to be our great teachers. So we're guardians of them, and yet they are also teachers of us.
That is true. Yep. Our children specifically, I mean, they chose their parents. When a soul has a certain amount of experience, that's how it works. When they incarnate, they're able to choose their parents, and it's more than likely we were in soul families for a very, very long time. It's a very difficult thing to fully grasp, but that much I do know. They chose us for a reason, probably in my case, to help me knock some sense into me and help me with open my heart chakra, because prior to my kids, it was pretty much closed up. And that wasn't the way my journey was supposed to be, and they they jumped in and they said, yeah, no, we're gonna repair that. And that is exactly what they have done, and it's been amazing. Every bit of the time with them has been amazing.
And my son has been my greatest teacher. Absolutely. I wouldn't be doing the work that I do now if it weren't for him. And to see him thrive is
exactly.
Are you there? Is
Inspiration.
Rianna there? I can't tell if that's her or just a frozen picture. I'm not sure.
It's there. She's in slow-mo. You know what's interesting is when
Am I still here?
when the recording comes out, sometimes the recording is just fine. It's very interesting. So we're just going to thank the guardians of technology to make this all turn out perfectly. Any last thoughts? We could go on and talk forever. Any last thoughts about the guardians? I would love to hear. You talked about the two races, Rianna, that clashed. I would love to hear that story if you have a minute to tell it, or is it too complex?
Oh, well, just, from off the top of my head without reading anything. This is between the Elohim and the Elohai beings. Creator beings are very close to source consciousness. So, yeah, they did a long way up, and a faction broke off because they wanted to. What were they doing? It was called code convolution. So they started to play with different ways of their lines, and that's kind of where it fell. They want to play God, basically, and have their own universe, basically. And out of that fell a whole bunch of races aligned with reverse code genetics, as opposed to the angelic Elohai Syrian race of beings that were angelic and divine created beings as part of this time matrix. So that's basically the duality of positive, negative, reverse orientation. And it's an extremely complicated story, and that's why I enjoyed Ashika Dean's earlier freedom teachings, where she spoke at length about the details about the factions of families and the guardian races with that, and is also continued through Lisa Renee's work, but also through our own knowing, our memory of and our own connections, just the glimpses we've had, the story that's unfolded, and that's the remembering process. But yeah, that's my high level. I don't know if that will make any sense. I feel like I need to go and read the material for any detail. I'm not very good at learning, like regurgitating other.
I agree. She's skipped out for a minute again, but I'm the same. I have never been great at quoting from other people's work. I have to experience it myself. So Rianna, I was just saying that I agree with you. It's really hard to. I was never great at quotes. I had a friend who could quote Wayne Dyer up one side and down the other, and it came to me that I tend to just see my own vision, and so I say it in my own simple way, and that's by design perfect. So thank you for sharing that.
I'm sure it is. It's frustrating, but yeah, because Nick has a very good memory. Him and his family have this wonderful ability to recite TV lines shows like 30 years ago. I was sitting there in awe, like, how do you remember that? Like, I remember the show, but the lines, like, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we
funny.
do.
It's very great skill.
Well, I mean, in summation of that topic, I mean, we have to all understand that not one of us has all of it right. So truth be told, there's not a lot of reason to really be grinding into this stuff and learning it to the nth degree, because more than likely we're going to have to relearn it or learn it a different way, because none of us has all of the stories right all of the time. There are bits, there are pieces, there are many scholars, teachers, speakers that have some of it right. And our task, and what Rianna and I do pretty well, is to be able to grab bits from each group, and and our higher self will tell us, well, that's pretty accurate. You can keep that. The rest, maybe not. And it's important for all of us, in the truther world, to just quit arguing amongst each other in regards to things that none of us exactly know. We're going to be learning for all of creation. We're going to be learning through many, 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 many incarnations. There's a great deal of information. I mean, I know Alex Collier talks a lot about how the Andromedans, and these are fifth density. Okay, we're still third. Fifth density, they're millions of years ahead of us, and they're constantly learning about things in regards to higher dimensions, source, creator, how things work. They don't know. So for us to kind of magically think we know anything, we don't. In comparison to the full picture, we are learning. We are getting bits and pieces and scraps, but never think you have it all. And that really, really goes out to the ones, the individuals that have been captured by religion. Okay. Be tremendously careful in those regards, because you don't have it all. You don't have all of the information. There's a great deal of information that isn't or hasn't been currently available. Okay. So that's all that's important. Just don't think you know it all in any regard, and be hungry to learn more from anybody, from any source. And if you work on your discernment, your higher self will allow you to start seeing things that are true. And you don't need somebody to come on TV wearing a tie and a suit and tell you what you need to think. These are the things you need to know. That was one of my least favorite sayings. You don't need them. So stop looking to them. You don't need a Galactic Federation person to come down and do anything for you. You don't need it. Believe it or not, they look to us. They know that we're genetic royalty. We just haven't stepped into that uniform yet, but we will. That's what we're here for, right? They all know it, and they all watch us. Our galactic families, they're out there. Lyrans, Syrians, Pleiadians, Andromedans, Arcturians, the list goes on and on forever. So don't for 1 minute think that we're lowly and everybody else off planet is something special, because that's not how it works.
We're the delegate that's part of the team that has decided to incarnate in what my experience as a human, but we've got a team that is working with us. So we're experiencing life as the human, saying this, we need help here, because they oftentimes are living in a more idyllic existence than what we are on Earth. So it's as if we are the experiencers saying this land needs help, this animal system needs help, this water needs help, this town needs help, this group of people, we need help here. So we are the ones that are the scouts, if you will, for our families, our galactic families. We've connected so many beautiful starseeds with their galactic family, and it is so magical for them to realize that they are part of another team. And that's why they don't feel like they fit in, because they're here, they fit in more with their galactic family. And when they recognize that the galactic family is still there with them in the unseen, and sometimes they can see them when they raise their vibration, then it makes things start to make a little bit more sense. But you're right, Nick. They're all around us. We are they.
Yeah. But I just want to thank you, Lois, for having us on and reuniting. It has a while since we've, spoke in this manner, and it's been a pleasure for me to do that. It's always great to see you, and obviously it's always great to see Rianna. And I'm just thankful that we can all share these times together.
And that's what it's about, is sharing from our heart to others who are hungry to feel connected, because many people still feel alone. So it's a blessing to be able to have meaningful conversations with other people that are heart-centered. So thank you both for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much to you both. Just always such a joy and a pleasure.
So everyone that's watching, thank you for being here. And until next time, please look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. God bless everyone.